I cannot even believe that this trial is happening at this point. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all are having a wonderful week. Hope everybody is feeling good. It is springtime. The sun is out for the most part. Rain, sun, whatever. And the weather is just nice. So I hope you guys are getting outside and enjoying this nice spring weather, hopefully where you are at. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Karen Read trial, the second Karen Read trial. A lot of y'all have been emailing me and DMing me over on Instagram about this. And you guys, spoiler alert, I just cannot even believe that this is happening. We've got some stuff to go over today. The prosecution's own witness, in my opinion, again in this second trial has already blew up their case. Like, what are we doing here? I'll tell y'all in a minute exactly why I think that they're even trying this woman. Before we get into it, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We just do things way more casually over there. I talk about hair stuff, what I eat in a day's, lifestyle stuff. If you're interested in that type of thing, check out my second channel. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon's for 18 and up. And over there, we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there. There's a $2 tier for all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies. That goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. Just make sure you read the full about section and what each tier offers before you join. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and I'm on Like to Know It. And Like to Know It is a platform where you can find links to a lot of things that I like, that I use, and that y'all ask about. Hair care, makeup, skincare products, workout gear, furniture, clothing items, basically anything and everything that I want to link or that y'all ask about. I can link that over on my Like to Know It, and I do. And all of those platforms are linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. So, okay, the Karen Read retrial has started, and let's just say that there has been some stark differences already from the first trial. I need to let y'all know now that everything in this video is alleged. I don't know any of these people. I'm not a professional. I am taking all of my information from very public news sources that is already out there, as well as watching the actual trial again. I'm filtering it through my own words and opinions, and yeah, go do your own research and form your own opinions. Now, I want to start this off by saying I do not know if Karen Read did this or not. If you do not know about all of the Karen Read situation with John OKeef and the Canton Police Department and all the drama and I have a playlist. Go and check it out and you can get caught up, because otherwise we're jumping right into this like y'all all know what I'm talking about. However, especially until I just heard this one person testify, and make sure you guys stay all the way to the end of this video so we can go over all of that. But I have never really had a strong opinion whether I believe Karen Read did this or not with John OKeef or to John OKeef. I have never believed she purposely did this. What she was being tried for, never believed that. I thought that there was a possibility an accident happened, but I never believed that she purposely did this. However, no matter what happened, she should not be being tried because of all the circumstances that happened around finding John OKeef and all the crazy mess and the way that the Canton Police Department messed this case up. But you know what? If y'all want to know why I think she's being tried, stay again to the end of this video. So first off, this time around, there's actually a new prosecutor. If y'all remember from the last trial, Assistant District Attorney Adam Lowley took the lead for the Commonwealth. Well, this time it's Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan. Now, Hank Brennan is actually a defense attorney that was appointed by the district attorney, Michael Morrissey, to try this case a second time around. Lowley is still on his team, and he's done like some of the direct examination, but it's been mostly Brennan trying this case for the state. I will say that I believe that Brennan's questioning and his flow of witnesses has been much more clear than Lowley's last time. And I'm trying to be nice with this situation with Lowley, because if y'all watch the trial, you know that he didn't do his best. We'll just say that. Well, Brennan is in there and he's doing his best with what he's got. Something else that has been interesting to see this time around is that some of Karen Read's media interviews have actually been played in court for the jury. Now, in the first trial, none of the clips were used and Karen never testified, so the jury never really actually heard anything directly from Karen's mouth besides those cringe text messages. Do y'all remember that between her and Brian Higgins? I'm still traumatized every time I think about those text messages between the two of them. Anyways, in Brennan's opening statements around this time, he told the jurors that they'd hear what happened from Karen's own lips about her like admitting to being intoxicated and also being angry at John OKeef the night that supposedly she told others that she's the one that hit John, which y'all, I actually do not believe that. I do believe she was intoxicated, but I believe they was all intoxicated and she admitted to it. However, here are the media clips that have actually been played in court for the jury so far.
I mean, I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him? Could I have tagged him in the knee and incapacitated him? He didn't look mortally wounded as far as I could see, but could I have done something that knocked him out and in drunkenness and in the cold didn't come to again?
And this would have been the moment you dropped him off at the party.
Yeah, would have had to.
I mean, when I see the video of me driving from the waterfall, like what I just described, tapping the brakes when I crossed the intersection, Washington over Sherman Street, do I actually remember that I kind of slowly proceeded through that green light? No, I don't actually remember that. But I've seen the video so many times that you then question, did I remember on my own? Or was my memory jogged? But I also wondered, did I say, could I have hit him? Or was it told to me that I said I hit him? And I knew I never could have said that, so the closest I must have said was, did I hit him? I know I said I hit him, but did I really say it as many times as law enforcement's claiming I said it?
Looking at me very warily, and then when John's nephew came home, I just wanted to see him and squeeze him. I don't know, it was quite uncomfortable. I said, Dad, come upstairs to the master bedroom. I said, I think I need to leave. Because I think John's mother thinks I did something to John.
And his mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, I think it looks like he got hit by a car. It looks like he got hit by a car. The final count of my alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they were pouring me at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like all soda water with lime. Not that I need it to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic and then I would pour a shot into it, so that would count as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour, so I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. I felt fine. I felt like I was buzzed. And then there was one drink, the last one that was given to me, which I would have counted as 3, but they're counting as my 6th cocktail. The guys that we were with brought around the shots, and they gave me one that I didn't drink, but I poured it in my drink. So that's now my 5th and 6th drinks, with the 7th, which is a shot that all the men did, and I poured it. So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go into the waterfall with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots. And which is why John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of vodka. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into waterfall and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots, depending on how you count it. And the last 2 drinks, I didn't touch.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking.
I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? I didn't black out, but I wasn't as lucid as I would have been if I had gone to bed at 9 and drank a tea. But so I was fuzzier than I would have been if I had had no alcohol. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:15 on January 29th. I mean, it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see it on the videos. And I was going, when I've had a few drinks and I drive, I always drive extra slow, so I know my...
Also, one of the first witnesses was Carrie Roberts. And y'all, I was so disappointed in this situation, because in the first trial, if y'all remember, Carrie Roberts to me seemed like one of the only people that was being genuine and authentic. She was with Karen and Jen McCabe the night that they found John. Her testimony was pretty similar to last time. However, last time she wasn't cross-examined. However, this time she was. And on cross-examination, it actually came out that Carrie never heard Karen ask Jen to make this infamous Google search of house long to die in the cold. Do y'all remember that? It was so big in the first time we talked about it in the trial because Jen was Googling how long to die in the cold. However, the time that Jen was Googling this was before they found his body. But of course, Jen said that, the timing of the phone must have got messed up or whatever excuse it was. And that the only reason why she Googled that was because Karen asked her to after they found John OKeef. Well, Carrie had pretty much co-signed on it and said, yes, Karen Reed did ask her that. However, in this testimony, she admitted she never heard Karen say that. Of course she didn't, because Jen was Googling that before they found his body. Nevertheless, this contradicted Carrie's testimony that she gave at the initial grand jury that actually indicted Karen in the first place.
And the actual words used, detailed about all of that as the actual words used, she asked her to Google hypothermia and how long, and then you stopped, Google hypothermia, end quote, correct?
Correct.
You will agree, at least for that purpose, you painted a very, very detailed picture in front of the grand jury, didn't you?
Yeah.
Except it's not true, is it?
I did not hear her ask that. I was told she was asked that.
The answer to my question, Ms. Roberts, and I'm not a trick question, what you told the grand jurors was not true. You never heard her, my client, ask anyone to Google anything, did you?
I did not.
And yet, that's what you testified to under oath, under penalty of perjury, in front of the grand jury, didn't you?
I did.
And the reason you did that, the reason that you said that false statement, was because someone told you to say it, correct?
Object.
Is that, I'm going to let her answer.
Nobody told me to say it. I knew it happened at that time,
How did you
which
know
is
it
why I
happened?
said it.
How did you know it happened, Ms. Roberts, if no one told you it happened?
Because we wrote a timeline. We already spoke about that.
So the timeline that Jennifer McCabe helped you with, that influenced your testimony in front of the grand jury, correct? Obviously.
I was telling what happened in the back of the cruiser.
The timeline
Can answer.
you wrote,
So when you ask a question, let her answer, okay?
the timeline you wrote with Jennifer McCabe's help influenced your testimony to testify in front of the grand jurors to a statement that you never heard, correct?
Yes.
Another difference that I think will be very interesting when they actually get to it is that the lead investigator, former state police trooper Michael Proctor, has been fired since the last trial. Y'all remember that, right? Him with his disgusting text messages, and we're not even going to get into all of that. And the things that he did, and the fact that he was the lead investigator, well, he's been fired. He hasn't testified yet, but I'm guessing that it will be even more interesting than it was last time, and I'm very much looking forward to him being cross-examined by the defense. Now let's go ahead and talk about Jen McCabe. And you guys, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I don't remember if I talked about it with y'all here or if it was just me talking about it with my Patreons, because we talk about stuff like that over there. But I just knew if Karen Read had a hung jury, that when they came back, the people that come back to testify this time, they were going to have whole new demeanors. And Jen did not disappoint. She's a whole new character this time, or at least her demeanor is different, in my opinion. Last year, some would say that Jen's testimony was a bit defensive.
I didn't understand that report, and I'm not an expert. I'm confused. That paper, I don't understand it. It was vague. There were numbers. There were calls everywhere. There was a number of missing calls. Absolutely not. Incorrect. I willingly turned over my phone.
After you deleted your phone call logs, correct?
Absolutely not.
What date did you turn your phone over?
That is not how I would understand this. John never went in the house. It wasn't a story. It was the truth. And it is the truth.
Just like she said, I hit him.
Correct.
Did you delete that search because you knew that you would be implicated in John OKeef's death if that search was found on your phone?
Objection. Could you answer that, please?
I did not delete that search. I never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John OKeef out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved.
But he's not your family, is he?
Family and friends.
Objection. Sustained.
This time, though, Jen seemed a lot more calm.
Phone records actually show that at 5:07, you called the 34 Fairview Nicole Albert's phone, correct?
Correct.
You actually spoke to your sister, Nicole, that morning?
I did not speak to my sister, no.
So that 38-second call went to voicemail?
I'm not sure. All I can tell you is I never spoke to my sister Nicole that morning. There's nothing nefarious. I remembered who I called. I didn't go back and look at phone records.
I didn't say it was nefarious. Why would you use the word nefarious?
Because there's nothing about me calling my sister that is nefarious, and I feel like you're insinuating it might be, and it's not.
There's 7 calls. What's your explanation?
I think I was going back and forth to the door. I was texting him. I think I put my phone in my pocket. I think I inadvertently maybe have called him.
What did you call it at the last hearing?
I believe I called it a butt dial.
And it's not just one butt dial, correct?
There could be multiple, yes.
7 butt dials in the course of 19 minutes. And we only know about these calls because you're looking at an extraction of John OKeef's phone, correct?
Correct, but I also turned over my phone, so you could have gotten all of that.
Google searched the phrase, "Hustlong to die in cold." Yes or no?
Yes.
On January 29th, correct?
Yes.
You agree that there was a search done at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I don't recall doing a search at 2:27. The paper says it. I don't.
Do you deny that you deleted a Google search off your phone?
I never deleted a Google search off my phone.
So you
I
deny
never did that. I deny it, yes.
that you ever deleted a Google search?
Yes.
A man is laying dead or dying in the front yard of your sister's house. You see nothing in terms of life inside the house. Lights aren't coming on. They're not getting up. They're certainly not coming outside. Did you think your sister might have been in peril? Did you think to go inside the house and check that they're okay?
I had no reason to think that they weren't okay.
You had no reason to believe they weren't okay. A man was dead or dying on their lawn, and your sister's not answering the phone. And nobody is coming out to the chaos of Karen Read screaming on the front lawn. You didn't think there was some reason to believe they could have been in peril?
I didn't, because your client was screaming she hit him. She had a cracked taillight. She was crying she hit him. I didn't, but my focus... Can I finish, please?
You had solved the crime right then and there. You solved the whole case.
No, I didn't. I knew John never came in the house, so I had no concern for anyone's safety inside the house.
The reason you didn't go inside the house is because you knew better. You knew better. You knew she wasn't in peril. You knew that Brian Albert wasn't in peril. You weren't worried at all about them, were you?
I was not worried at all because something happened on the front lawn that had nothing to do with anything inside that house.
You weren't worried about them at all because you knew what really happened.
At that moment, I didn't know that he was hit by a vehicle and there was taillight found next to him.
And y'all, in my opinion, I just know this woman was practicing. She probably was practicing with her friends. Her husband was probably walking around in the living room with a clipboard saying, "What were you doing at this time? Talk about the text messages." And they're probably doing this over, and this is my opinion, y'all, over and over again to make sure she didn't act the way that she did last time, which she shouldn't have been as defensive, in my opinion, as she was last time if she didn't have anything to do with this. But this time, she had it together. So much so that Jackson, y'all know Karen Reed's defense attorney, even asked her if she was trying to be more calm.
What about any discussion about your demeanor and how you performed in the last proceeding? Objection.
Sustained.
I'll ask it a different way. What about your demeanor? I'm using probably a poor word, perform. How you came across, your demeanor in the last proceeding? Objection.
Sustained.
Did you discuss changing your demeanor in any way, shape, form, or fashion from the last trial to, the last proceeding to this trial, my mistake. From the last proceeding to this trial, was your demeanor ever discussed?
No, I was just told to slow down, answer the question, and, answer it to the best of my memory.
Was there any discussion about crafting your testimony in any way to suggest a softer approach?
No.
And I'm just not surprised. Like I said, I knew that if there was a hung jury and they had to retry Karen Reed, that everybody that testified and showed their true colors would have a whole new face on or a demeanor this time. And by golly, so far we're right on track. However, I want to talk to y'all about Ryan Negal's testimony. And you guys, when he testified in the first trial, but even so in this trial, this testimony alone, I don't understand why she's being tried for this. So Ryan Negal was the brother of one of the friends that was at the house hanging out at the Alberts home the night that all of this went down. Quick rundown, y'all remember they ended up having a random snow day. It was going to be a snow day the next day, so pretty much everybody was out of school, out of work. They were out drinking that night. Everybody goes back to the Alberts house. I am convinced, in my personal, unprofessional opinion, they was on some toot, if you know what I mean.
I'll do some toot now. I'll do a little toot.
Because you're not going to convince me that this amount of 40-year-old people and up were all staying up all night long till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, just sitting around chit-chatting and drinking beer. Baby, somebody's passing out. Like I said in my other videos, maybe 1 or 2 people can hang that long just drinking alcohol, but everybody. Anyways, this guy Ryan was texted by his sister that was at the house and said, "Come and pick me up." So he goes there with his friend and his girlfriend to go and pick his sister up at around 12:30 a.m.
Do you have any other purpose of going to that address other than to pick up your sister?
No, sir.
How long did it take you after you left to redirect and get to that address?
Probably roughly 5 to 7 minutes.
Do you know what time specifically you arrived at that address?
Probably a little before 12:30.
As you're driving down Cedar Crest, before you turn onto Fairview, did you see anything?
I saw a vehicle coming at us. Not directly at us, but obviously traveling on the other side of the road.
Okay. And where was that vehicle traveling towards?
Us, and then they put their blinker on to take a right.
Who turned onto Fairview first?
The other vehicle.
After that SUV turned right onto Fairview and Ricky turned left onto Fairview, who was in front of who?
The other vehicle was in front of us.
Was the other vehicle in front of you the entire time you saw it?
Yes, sir.
Did Ricky ever drive and park in front of that vehicle?
No, we were behind them.
Always behind it?
Always.
When Ricky pulled up to Fairview, where did he stop?
Right in front of the driveway of the Alberts house.
You were in the front passenger side of the truck?
Correct, sir.
If you looked directly outside that window, what would you have seen?
The driveway and the house.
The other vehicle, did it stop at the driveway?
No, it was probably like a car length in front of us.
So it was in front of you?
Correct, sir.
When you pulled to the driveway, Did you go in to see your sister?
No.
What did you do?
I texted her saying we're here, and she came out, opened up the door. She looks at me and Rick and said, "Hey, do you guys want to come in? For a drink or whatever." And I looked at him, looked in the back seat, asked Heather. We said, "No, we're all set. We're gonna go home." And so she decided to stay.
So the idea was to give her a ride home. You did not give her a ride home?
Correct, we did not.
Now remember, Karen Reed's story was that she did not really want to go over there, but John OKeef wanted to go. She went there, she pulled up, John OKeef gets out of the SUV, she's sitting in the vehicle waiting for him, She waits 5 minutes or so, she's pissed off because she didn't want to go there anyways, and she leaves him there, right? That's her story. This is when he testifies that he saw Karen Reed parked by the flagpole. She had the dome light on the SUV, and she was the only one in the vehicle.
What was your primary focus?
My sister, sir. Like watching her get in.
You were being attentive to her getting in?
Correct, sir.
As you watched her get in, did you glance or see anything else in your vision as you were watching your sister go into the house?
I saw that there was a woman in the driver's seat of the black SUV in front of me, sitting there with her hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2.
Did you get a good enough look that you would remember who that person was, or was it too brief to identify the person?
It was too brief, sir.
You saw the person in the SUV with their hands on the wheel. How did you see them inside the car?
Their dome light was on.
Do you know how a dome light comes on in a vehicle?
Yes, sir. Either you press it yourself or if there's a door open.
Did you see anybody else in the car?
No, sir.
Were you looking for anybody?
No, sir.
Could there have been somebody else in the vehicle at that time?
It could have been, yes.
Could there have been someone standing outside the door?
Yes, it could have been.
When you saw the person, were you studying the person?
No.
He also testified that there was barely any snow on the ground and that he did not see a body anywhere.
Once you got to the Albert home, you noticed that the black SUV was parked outside the Albert home, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, the snow had not yet started sticking to the pavement, correct?
Correct, sir.
You could see the pavement in both the driveway and the street.
Correct, sir.
You could also see the grass on the lawn.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
The snow was only just starting to accumulate on the grass, correct?
Correct, sir.
And with that little snow on the ground, you saw no tire marks behind the SUV, correct?
No, sir.
In fact, you saw no tire marks in the street at all.
Correct, sir.
And when you got close to that SUV while you were passing it, you didn't hear any arguing there, correct?
Correct.
You didn't hear any yelling, correct?
No, I did not.
You didn't hear any screaming?
No, I did not.
You heard no noises within that SUV at all?
No, I did not, sir.
So you mean to tell me that according to the prosecution, Karen Reed pulls up, does what she does to John OKeef, his body's laying out there unalive, and she's just sitting in the vehicle with the dome light on, just waiting for what? To leave? And they didn't. It makes no sense. But moving on, I do think that it is important to point out that the jury is not supposed to have any knowledge of Karen Reed's previous trial. So much so that the lawyers are not even supposed to talk about it during this retrial. They have actually been referring to it as previous testimony or testimony from a prior proceedings and so on. So I wonder how this trial is being interpreted by the jury. I would have to think that it's probably coming off more favorable in some ways for the prosecution than it did last time. Not saying that they're like winning or anything, but it is looking better for the prosecution this time because Brennan is doing a much better job. However, we are only into the Commonwealth's case, meaning that the defense has not called any of their witnesses yet. Also, because not many of the first responders and law enforcement witnesses have testified yet. Last time, most of them testified in the beginning of the trial. And for me, that was really important because it pointed out a lot of the investigators' inconsistencies in the case before they ended up going into the witnesses' inconsistencies. Also, in my opinion, Karen's lawyer, Alan Jackson, comes in pretty hot with his questioning sometimes, especially when he was questioning Jen McCabe. which honestly makes sense when you've seen how she testified last time versus how she's testifying this time. But if the jury has no idea about what happened last time, then it kind of comes off as he's like this aggressive, argumentative attorney. I think it's obviously going to be harder for the defense to get those like gotcha moments this time, like they were able to get in the last trial, because of all of these witnesses. They know what's coming. They've been here before. They've had time to re-examine themselves, watch their testimony, and come back in and have a second chance. It's kind of scary when you think about, especially from Karen Reed's side. I mean, even Katie McLaughlin, one of the paramedics that responded to the scene that night, had some differences in her demeanor around this time. And if you watch the last trial, you'll know that Jackson had one of those gotcha moments with her too, when it came out that she was actually friends with Caitlin Albert, even though when she was asked about it during like last year's trial, she said that she knew of a girl with that name that she went to high school with. And then all of those pictures came out of the two of them together on like multiple occasions. But because Katie knew that those questions were coming this time, she made sure to clarify and openly admit to those pictures.
You've been photographed on many occasions and many celebrations with Caitlin Albert and your girlfriends, that group of girls that we just looked at.
Yeah. So it kind of makes you wonder where this trial is going to go if every witness that had a big moment last time doesn't have to have that big moment this time because they're totally prepared for it. I mean, some would say that it's a bit unfair, and some would say that it's more fair this way. Let me know what you think. I'm going to tell you that, again, I don't truly know what happened that night. Although, with Ryan's testimony, it seems like what he's saying goes along with what Karen said. Seems like he saw her sitting in the vehicle by herself, probably because John OKeef went inside. Although the people in the house say that they never saw him. I believe that the reason why she is being tried is because they are trying to save the reputation of the whole Canton police and investigative services, because so many professionals were involved in this. And there's seemingly some sort of cover-up that's going on. I don't think any of them are innocent of any kind of crime. All of them did something wrong. I mean, even Karen admitted to driving after she had been drinking. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, but it is going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this trial plays out, and I cannot wait to see some of the other people testify. Let me know what you think. Other than that, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.